Hello everyone, and welcome to the second video I have made to celebrate the fact that I have recently reached 100 subscribers. And this video I'll be talking about the worst movie-going experiences I have ever had and why they need to stop. Now, funnily enough, before 2015, I had had no bad experiences going to the cinema. All of them had been fine and really good. But after I started my YouTube channel in 2015, that was when all the bad experiences started happening. So I don't know whether it's just a fluke or whether it's a really, really odd coincidence. So yeah, I have a total of 4 bad experiences I will be explaining to you guys. They will progressively get worse and worse. They'll start off pretty tame, but by the time we get to the end, it will reach, honestly, the worst thing that's ever happened to me whilst trying to watch a movie. Also, if some of these sound familiar, and you've been subscribed to my channel for a long time, that may be because I've actually touched upon some of these in the reviews of the movies that I went to see. So, in those reviews, I did touch on them a little bit, but here I'm going to go in a lot more detail and try and explain why I hated it so much, as best as I can. So, without any further ado, let's get into this, and the first bad experience I want to talk about is when I went to see Captain America Civil War last year. And coming to think about it, at the time it only bugged me slightly, but the more I think about this, the more it really does grate with me. Okay, so set the scene. It's a pitch black cinema screening room with quite a lot of people in there, quite a few families as well, and we are quite a bit into the movie. I would say we're at just before the bit where Spider-Man is introduced into the movie. And it was at this moment where everything had been fine. People had been laughing at the movie, that you could hear very little talking, and it was pretty much a good experience. Until a family over to the right of me started becoming a bit more active, as we so to speak. Now, take into account that this is a family that was made up of, I think, a dad and quite a few young kids. And it was at this point in the movie where the kids, pretty much all of them, decided to go up to the toilet one by one. Now, I have no problem with that, but it was the fact that they were running quite loudly from their seats to the toilet, which did kind of grate, especially seeing that I prefer to sit at the back of the cinema, and 9 out of 10 times where I like to sit is right next to the door. So hearing that door going doo-doosh, 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 and just hearing their constant thumping of feet behind me was rather annoying, but luckily it didn't last that long. It's what happened next that didn't affect me personally, but just kind of pissed me off slightly. So fast forward a couple of scenes and we reached the amazing airport scene in Captain America Civil War, which, as you'll agree, is the best scene in that entire movie. But there's something bugging me. I am fixated on the screen because this scene honestly had me glued from start to finish. But as it was coming to a close, there was something in the corner of my eye where that family was sitting that I just couldn't quite put my finger on. And then I fully looked over there and one of the kids was like not watching the movie at all. He was fully invested in his Nintendo DS. I mean, I can kind of understand in some sense because he was a very young kid. He might have had a very short attention span. But still, you do not bring in a portable handheld games console into a cinema screening room, yet alone play it. I mean, I don't care how old you are, that's just not, it's just common courtesy, just to watch the movie. Even if you're bored at it, just try your best to watch it. You do not do stuff like that. I mean, it's bad enough with people on their phones in cinemas, but that is kind of the icing on the cake. Okay, so the next bad experience is when I went to see The Girl on the Train last year, and even though it is very annoying, I do kind of understand where they're coming from. Now, if you've seen my review of The Girl on the Train, you'll know that I really wasn't that keen on the movie. I actually didn't like it at all. But still, the overall experience was kind of ruined by two people in front, a few rows in front of me, talking throughout the majority of the movie. I mean, it was fine at the start, but there was a certain point where they just started getting louder and louder and louder. And at one point, the person right behind them did tell them to shut up. And I was expecting them to, you know, play along, watch the movie, and just, you know, carry on. They left. Which makes sense, because it was a really boring movie. And the thing that I presume it was a woman, I couldn't quite tell in the dark, but it was what they said that actually kind of made me laugh. They just stood up and in the chavviest way possible said, "Oh, alright then, well enjoy your piece of shit boring movie then." And then they just like kind of, you know, slaunt out of the cinema screening room. And I was like, okay, that just happened. But anyway, the main point I want to get at with this bad experience is that, first of all, you shouldn't talk in the cinema. If the movie started, you shouldn't. If it's during the adverts, fair enough, but again, you shouldn't talk during a film. But it's the whole, you know, leaving a movie halfway through part that kind of baffles me sometimes. I mean, I can understand where they were coming from, because yes, it was a very boring movie. But I kind of have this motto that I stick to no matter what movie it is I'm seeing. Whether it be for fun or for, you know, critically evaluating it for a review later on YouTube. I watch the movie, and no matter how bad it is, I will watch it and stick all the way through it. I mean, hell, there were points in The Girl on the Train where I wanted to leave. But I didn't. I stuck through it from start to finish because I wanted to respect everyone around me and the people who had made the movie, no matter how bad the movie was. So I watched it all, and there have been instances, like I said, that I've wanted to leave a movie. But in my head, I'm just like, no, I will wait this out. Okay, so now we're getting into the really, really bad experiences, and this one happened again last year when I went to see Deadpool. Now, take into account that I saw this on the day it opened, and I was so excited because Deadpool is one of my favourite Marvel characters, just because of the whole idea of him and the whole fact that he can break fourth walls. I've always found really fascinating. And the fact that they fucked the character up like really badly in X-Men Origins, I really wanted to see if this was going to be the one time they get the character 100% right. So I was incredibly hyped for this movie, and I'm there sitting in my cinema seat, just waiting for the movie to start, and I'm like, I need this right now. And then 3 twats decided to sit behind me. Now, I call these 3 people twats for a reason. Because throughout the majority of the movie, they were literally saying out loud at the top of their voice what was happening on the screen. And it ruined some of the funniest moments of the movie, which is why I'm glad I've rewatched it again a few times on Blu-ray. And to begin with, I thought this is going to ruin the experience. Luckily, they did shut up a couple of times and got quieter towards the end. But still, it was just so annoying. Oh, that's well funny, that. Could you please shut up? That's so. Oh my god, that bit where he cuts it. Oh my god, he just cut his head off. Oh, that's so funny. Oh my god. Do you mind? I'm trying to watch the movie. It's a free country. We're allowed to do what we want. I'm allowed to say what I want to say. Fucking idiot. God. Oh my. Shut the fuck up. Oh my god. Oh my god. Lord. That is probably funniest thing I've seen. Oh my god, shut up. That's fucking hilarious. Oh my god, bear hilaire. Fucking funny. That is top-notch humour, comedy, banter right there. Oh my fucking god. That guy, Reynolds Ryans, he deserves all the Oscars. They're fucking great. Great fucking, oh my god, that is hilarious. Screw you guys, I'm going home. Oh dear. Oh, fucking top notch. Okay, and now we've got to the number one worst experience I've ever had in a cinema. And it was in 2015 when I went to see the movie Legend starring Tom Hardy. My god, nothing at this point has topped how excruciating this experience was. And to be honest, the overall experience, like what happened, ruined my experience with the movie. I managed to get a grasp of what was happening in the movie, but everything else that happened around me just fucking ruined it. Okay, so again, picture the scene. Me and my dad go to see Legend. I go with my dad because he really likes Tom Hardy as an actor, and I really wanted to see the movie as well, so we both went and saw it. It was the weekend it opened, and the screening room was empty, and it was just about to start. The only people in there was me and my dad, and a couple sitting behind, a few rows behind us. And I want to say about a few minutes into the movie, it literally only just started, these two chavs, as we'll call them, enter the room. And I've got no problem, because they're with them so far, I've got no problem with them yet. They come in, they're talking to each other, and they sit down, and they're fine for now. But as the film goes on, and within a matter of, like, seconds of them sitting down, they get really obnoxious. And what they did throughout the rest of the movie, non-stop, was the three following things. And these are three things I fucking hate to see in the cinema. 1, they bought in an entire carrier bag of, like, food and shopping that they just consumed on, like, as they were sitting down, like a fucking picnic. First of all, I can understand why you'd bring your own food in, because the food and drinks at the cinema are horrendously overpriced. But still, you don't lay out a fucking full 3-course meal picnic thing in the middle of the aisles and just loudly eat it as loud as you fucking can. The second thing they proceeded to do was treat the cinema like it was their own house. They put their feet up on the seats in front of them. They laid out over the seats. They just basically, they didn't sit. They just flumped. That's the best way I can put it. They just lazily, just freaking laid down on the chairs and watched the movie. But it's the third thing that thoroughly pissed me off. Whereas with the guys in Deadpool, they occasionally knew when to shut up, because they knew they were getting on people's nerves. And luckily, by the halfway point of the movie, they had fully shut up. But with these guys, they were talking at the top of their voice, some points even shouting to each other, non-stop. There were moments where they actually paused for quite a while, and I was like, oh good, they've stopped. And then they'd kick back up again, and it just really, really pissed me off, because they ruined some of the best moments in the movie. For example, the infamous scene that happens in a pub, where this brawl fight thing happens. They talked throughout the whole of that. There's a really emotional scene involving one of the main character brothers and his girlfriend, which is a really emotional scene. But they fucking laughed at it. This is the thing that annoyed me the most, and I didn't know whether they were doing it for shits and giggles or whether they were doing it to deliberately piss everyone else off in the room. But they laughed, really, really forcefully, in-your-face laughed at some of the serious, more emotional moments in the movie, and then just talked throughout the more interesting, cooler bits of the movie, thus ruining the entire experience. And the points at where they shut up, were actually some of the more, slower, less interesting moments of the film. So the only bits I properly remember from the movie include their stupid fucking voices in it. So, yeah, those were the worst experiences I've ever had in a cinema. They were very annoying, and that one at Legend really, really, really pushed me. It hasn't stopped me from going to the cinema though, because every movie I've reviewed, pretty much, apart from like Netflix stuff, has been at the cinema. And I still really enjoy going to the cinema. There have been a few times recently where I've had a really, really good experience at the cinema. But it's just moments like that that kind of make you think, one, why would people do that? And two, oh, I don't really want to go to the cinema again. That kind of put me off. So guys, that was the worst movie-going experiences I've ever had. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment down below and tell me what some of the worst experiences you've ever had in a cinema have been. And also maybe comment down below if there are any ways you can think of to kind of stop this or improve the cinema going experience. If you enjoyed the video, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Bye.